Hi, Nina here. This is a random Ntrygg vlog, and it's a tip for job interviewing. Now, I used to work for the RCMP in Canada administratively as the forms and workflow designer, and I interviewed in a number of different government capacities at various departments, and a frequent question that gets asked in job interviews is to show an example of judgment. So the story I use is a time when I was walking, I'd come to work and I was a little bit late, and so I didn't get my usual parking spot, so I was at the far end of the lot. And as I walked across the parking lot, I saw a man in plain clothes loading a gun, a handgun, out of the trunk of his car. Now, this wasn't necessarily an unusual sight because operations were frequently staged in the parking lot, and I noticed that there wasn't anybody else. So, having worked as an emergency preparedness professional at a previous department, I was a little bit concerned, and I looked around and I saw that there was other people in screaming distance, but I didn't have any real reason to raise alarm at that juncture. And I took a calculated risk, and I walked up to him and I talked to him. And at this point in the job interview, the three people on the selection committee actually gasped. And, I explained that, well, I took a calculated risk based on that most people, when they fire, even at point blank range, will miss, and the chances of, realistically the calculation was one person being shot and alerting everybody else to the danger was a better thing than letting him, get into the building without knowing and potentially having a lot of people hurt. And at this point I got really nervous in the interview because now the selection committee was all sitting there like dumbfounded, and I got kind of confused because in fact the question I was answering was about how to stay calm when you get a phone call bomb threat. So I don't know. Anyways, so later I thought, well, and I actually did use that example in other more administrative type jobs that were less volatile, and so I guess maybe I didn't have that good a judgment in terms of using an example that was so far out of what you could expect in the job you're interviewing for. So that would be a good interview tip. Answer the questions as if you're already in the position, not as if you're an application for it. I mean, when you're going places, you're coming with a skill set. You're not actually going hat in hand. You're going with a lot to offer.